Hey there. I wanted to do a quick 5 minute demo showing how we could potentially use AI to identify risks or threats against a business, such as conflicts of interest between our clients or maybe negative or adverse media which is being published against our client base. We think that this is a great fit for AI because you can use it to identify quite kind of complex and subtle situations and to do so very quickly so we can inform an employee to go and look at the situation. So in this fictional demo that I'm going to show, if you imagine there's a company and they have a big database about all of their past customers, and this database includes both structured information such as their name and address, website, number of employees, but also unstructured text-based data such as a description about what they do, maybe media stories, maybe descriptions or biographies about their directors. The database, maybe it looks like this. So we've got some example entries here. So there's an electronic company, Brightwave Electronics, who specialise in high-end consumer electronics, a catering company, a landscaping company, Ironclad Machinery, who focus on industrial machinery and equipment used in construction and mining. Now, this particular customer, if you imagine, this particular example, if you imagine they're onboarding a new customer who are called Exact Cast Alloys, who are in the metals industry. And we're going to capture information about them, so both that structured information, but also the unstructured text-based data as part of kind of an onboarding or a due diligence process. Maybe, for instance, we're going to write up a bit of a description of what they do, what markets they're operating in, how do they differentiate, what are their products and services, who are their customers, and all of that good stuff. And what I'm going to demonstrate now is using a large language model to identify the kind of relatively hard to find indicators. So I'm going to take this description of Exact Cast Alloys. I'm going to compare that with our database of 1,000 organisations, and I'm going to try and tease out any conflicts of interest within that data set. So the way this looks is we're going to give it the description of Exact Cast Alloys. So if I preview that, we can see this is the text we've just looked at. It says, they provide custom casting solutions for complex parts such as turbine blades. They use advanced casting techniques. They differentiate by focusing on meticulous quality control. So we are going to upload that file. Within a second, we've kind of completed that analysis using AI. And if we go to this workflow screen, we can see that sure enough, a new task has been sent to our compliance officer to say that a potential conflict of interest has been identified. If we drill down into that, we can see that Exact Cast Alloys competes with one of our other clients called Vertex Alloy Foundry. They both specialise in casting high performance alloys for aerospace and defence applications. So if we drill down here, we can see that this is a description of Exact Cast, and using AI, we've identified this potential conflict of interest within our client base. We did that in seconds, and we routed a task to an appropriate person to be dealt with, and that can be all audited and logged and stuff. So I think that is a great kind of demonstration of the power of AI. I mean, previously maybe you'd have like a human analyst who is looking for these situations, and that can take time, it can be expensive, and these things can still slip through the net. Here we could use AI to kind of augment their work, make them more effective and efficient, faster, and things like that. To continue the demo, I wanted to show something about adverse media. So if you imagine we have onboarded this client, we've resolved the conflict of interest and dealt with that, and we've onboarded them to be a customer. But after a month or so, all of a sudden, a news story about Exact Cast Alloys appears in the trade press. Now in this news story, we've identified that there's been a dangerous safety violation. They were using cheap plastic materials in their casting process instead of high strength alloys It led to a disastrous accident at a power plant in Guatemala. So what I would like to do is use AI to ingest kind of hundreds or thousands of maybe trade press news stories. I want to correctly identify that one of our clients was involved in a news story and classify the story as negative or positive. Again, I would like to route an alert to an appropriate individual if this situation happens. So to demonstrate this, here I'm kind of manually uploading files, but in reality you'd kind of ingest this data automatically. But I have an adverse media story, which we've just looked at. So we can see this is about the explosion in Guatemala power station, which led to damage, injuries and loss of life. We're going to upload that to the system. The language model is going to process it. It's going to say, is this related to one of my clients and is it a negative story? And when we go back to the workflow tray, we can see that automatically we've identified that a negative news story has been identified. And if I can click here, we've processed the story. We've identified that it highlights a very dangerous safety violation by Exact Cast Alloys, and it's put lives at risk, leading to a catastrophic accident in Guatemala. You know, this has been alerted, and again, it's been routed to a compliance analyst. So using these, you know, what this is demonstrating is, you know, as work is happening in the background, you know, as your analyst is building up your database about the client, we're automatically using AI to look for a conflict of interest amongst our client base. We're doing that, you know, those conflicts can be quite kind of subtle and complex to identify, but we are looking for those signals. It's happening automatically, it's happening very quickly, and we're ensuring that none of those fall through the cracks. Likewise with a news story, maybe you have 1,000 clients, and what we want to do is automatically monitor what is happening for all of those clients, looking at, you know, the media, trade press, databases. To do that manually is probably not even viable, but if it is, you need a ton of people, you know, pulling together that data, reading it, reviewing it, analysing it, and making the right decisions about who to alert. So again, this is a kind of great application of AI to, you know, help reduce threats and risks and help keep the business more compliant, and to be able to, you know, do more with less, I guess. So hopefully that was useful. It's more kind of a quick demo to show the art of the possible, but be really interested in hearing feedback on this approach. Thank you.